A student of mine had missed our class because her school schedule changed suddenly. She is in the brass band at her elementary school, and one of her brass band classmates was attacked on the street by a Japanese grandma. So this is a Japanese schoolgirl getting attacked by a Japanese grandma. Reportedly, here is what happened. So this girl was on the street, and I think she had crossed the street and was walking in the correct place. This street is divided by this rail, and walkers usually walk in the small section. The other section obviously is for cars and bikes. So this little girl had crossed the street, and some grandma on a bike was angry and irate at her. And the little girl, even though she felt she did nothing wrong, apologized to the grandma anyway. Was super nice about it. And I imagine she just kept walking, going to school. This was in the morning, by the way. So everyone's going to school. The grandma got furious that the little girl wouldn't keep paying attention to her, or was, just going about her day and going to school. Like, she already apologized. And the grandma hit her in the head. Like, hit her. Japan, so safe, so polite. And you don't know this because you're a tourist. Yes, the Japan glaze is heavy, but if you don't live here, you don't really know what's happening in Japan. So that's my channel. So the girl got to school, they called the police, and the brass band was actually canceled all during the week because the police thought, oh, we don't know about this grandma. We don't know if this is going to be another attack, so we better be safe. So this really affected students' lives. It canceled brass band for a week. This was in the mornings before school. So, yeah. So Japan is not safe, and Japan is sometimes not polite. That's the reality of living in Japan. Now, this doesn't totally surprise me because I was punched in the back by a Japanese grandma in a shopping center. I made a video about that attack here. So, something that's weird about Japan is young people are usually very cool and non-violent. I have never been attacked or hit anywhere by someone, say, 30 years or younger. The problem is middle-aged and old people. They're the dangerous ones in Japan. They're the ones making all the problems. I've been attacked many times on trains, physically assaulted, and they're always middle-aged or senior citizens, old people, right? So, and the same with racist stuff being said at me. Mostly it's from old people, and I've had racist stuff said to me on the street. So, I think I had this talk a long time ago with someone that basically, old people in Japan feel more brazen. They act more brazenly because they feel they can do this. It's kind of a deserved rite of passage with old age. People can just be grumpy. They can hit other people. They can attack people. They can be honest, They can rage. They can say racist things. So, young Japanese people are pretty cool. Like, no problems, ever. But old people or middle-aged or older people seem to be the problem in Japan regarding danger. And this happened recently. There was a Japanese person smashing through tourists in Shibuya, at Shibuya Crossing, Hachiko Square. So this woman looks a little bit young. Maybe she's on the fringe of that middle-aged group that I was talking about that likes to be aggressive and is just open about it. They don't care. They give two fucks about being dangerous or racist in Japan. She looks to be about that age, about middle age. So, not a surprise. So Japan is not safe or polite sometimes. This is just the reality. Yes, and even Japanese females assault people too. And sweet old Grams is hitting kids out in the streets. Nice. Dear Japan Glazers, you are here. Japan is here. To learn more, come to Japan and simply step off the plane and try staying here for a couple years with your eyes open. So at our next lesson, my student was telling me about this attack and the police and the brass band, and that's why I missed class and the schedule changed and blah, 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 blah. And she was wearing a skirt to the private lesson that we have. And so I took it upon myself to start warning her about the clothes she's wearing, about chikan. Because she's really young. She doesn't know about any of this stuff. So we kind of turned the lesson into a heavy life lesson talk. And she was just kind of like, oh, good. Like, I could tell she didn't want to talk about this. But I told her tactfully, of course, that she needs to be careful and she needs to be ready to report people. And that there's a lot of men out there that see her skirt differently than she sees it. And it's a huge problem. So almost every female in Japan is sexually assaulted during their life. This is the reality here in Japan. This is from Japanese researchers who surveyed thousands of Japanese women. These are not police stats or government stats that are reported internationally to frame Japan as safe and polite. These are real Japanese women being interviewed and reporting the truth. So, here's the crazy part. After the lesson, her mom came to pick her up, and I told her mom, I said, yeah, so that was crazy about the attack, the brass band, the grandma on the street. Also, just to let you know, we talked a little bit about, chikan and some stuff like this. And the mom, just to, give her a warning so, my student didn't start complaining. The mom's like, why were you talking about this? So I was giving her a heads up just to be on the safe side, right? So then, after I told her, we had this kind of heavy talk, and I was teaching her daughter about chikan, sexual assault. The mom had never told her daughter that she is also a victim of chikan. So I said to the mom, I asked her, have you been attacked? Have you been, has chikan been done against you? And she's like, yeah, twice, 2 times. So an hour before, I was teaching her daughter to be careful about this. And now here is her mother admitting to me and her daughter, who's standing right there, she's been sexually assaulted twice in Japan. And that was great for me because it was validation, and it made me not seem crazy, because the daughter was listening to me earlier and she's kind of like, yeah, okay, let's just keep going with the lesson. She didn't care, But now, and as her mom told me this, the daughter looked up at her and said, in Japanese, she was like, really, Mom? You've been attacked? And the mom looked back at her and said, yes, 2 times. So thank you, mother, for being honest. She's awesome. I've had the student for years. The mother's great. So this was just an important lesson for females in Japan. And unfortunately, to draw this chikan safety lesson out, first, one of her friends had to be attacked by a Japanese grandma on the street. Welcome to Japan. So safe, so polite.